spending some time with my mother. My mother's going to be 90 in August, and all of her friends are dying. So I've been spending some
Yeah,
time with her.
that's got to be a hard part of life, huh?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I think I've also been spending more time with my father, and he's only 77, but he's a rough 77.
Uh-huh.
And I often think about how he must feel going through that, where he's coming to the end of his life, and there's so many things that are unresolved for him,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have the tools to resolve them, and he
Hmm.
never has, and it's kind of scary. I could imagine that there's a lot of fear there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I have conversations with my mother because it's my, being spirit and being creative power is my jam. So she's always asking me questions and sort of like trying to figure things out, or how do you know that, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
she's a little bit open to it. It's fun to talk to her about it and just see how she responds.
It's funny you say that because when on the 4th of July, my dad, when I picked him up to go watch fireworks, it was one of those days where my wife was somewhere, my kids were somewhere, my nephews, who I originally was going to pick up with him, they're young, to go watch fireworks. Their mom took them somewhere. So I called him and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just at home. You still want to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So I pick him up, and when he gets in the car, he's in pain. He's like, oh, breathing through his mouth, and I know that's how he is when he's stressed.
Yeah.
So we go to the course, the golf course where we watch the fireworks, and we begin to talk about limiting beliefs and how we can change them, and how I was having a call with somebody who was stressed out because they didn't feel like they were living in faith, and they felt like they needed to read the Bible more, and they needed to listen to worship music more, and they needed to pray more, and they had guilt over not doing those things. And I
Mm.
was explaining to her that faith is not an act, it's a state of being. And you can be in faith while you're praying, but you can also be in faith while you're on an Instagram live. You can
Right.
be in faith while you're watching fireworks, and that everything is being in faith. And it really relieved the stress that she built up around that process. And I was explaining it to him. And in the beginning, he was having a hard time understanding it because he's at the point of his life where he feels he has everything figured out. Like he knows everything. So the container is not open. And
Yeah.
I noticed in the talk that we were having, when the container was shut and he wouldn't allow new concepts to come into his mind to deal with, he was very closed up and stressed. But as the conversation went on and I was able to kind of break down a couple layers of his thinking and just
Hmm.
give him something new to think about, it changed his energy
Yeah.
completely. And
Yeah.
how in a moment he went from being in pain and breathing heavy to having more energy, being playful, and enjoying what we were doing. And at the end, he was like, "Wow, that was one of the best fireworks shows that I've ever seen." And yeah, the fireworks show was great, but his energy going into the fireworks show was different.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to how important it is and how easy it is to change your energy when you're open to new concepts and you see that there is something to learn in life.
Yeah. And John, I mean, that's such a great story, but you were holding the space and you were in the energy of faith, which affected him in a, he doesn't know that, but he's feeling something differently. We have so much power when we have our own energy intact, and we're stable and on the inside, that state of being. Any conversation you have from there is so much more powerful than, having it from here and like, Dad, I'm going to convince you, right? It's a whole different come from.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. It's funny you say that because one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, and one of the things that I've been learning from some of my mentors, is holding space, creating a container, and not falling into that space. Not, I guess the word would be like getting trapped in doing something a certain way,
Yeah.
collapsing
Hmm.
into the space. So for me, I've been working on healing first responders and helping them understand the processes it takes to mitigate the damage of the job. And sometimes I can get caught up in the minutia of how to get that done, which puts me in a state of stress or
Hmm.
fear that I'm not doing a good job or I'm not doing enough. When in actuality, it's not my job to do the work, it's my job to create the container
Hmm.
and help people do the work themselves
Right.
and give them the information, give them the vision, and hold that for them. And even in times of doubt and stress and overwhelm, be able to hold that container and not collapse into it. And in order to do
Yeah.
that, I have to live in a state of faith that what I'm doing will help people, even if it doesn't seem like it's moving the needle the way I think it needs to move, because I'm
Hmm.
looking at this way that I want something to be done, but my
Right.
resources and my plan are very small and minuscule compared to the universe's plan and the universe's resources. So
Right.
holding that container, holding that energy has been the theme of my life over the last couple weeks. And that's why I labeled this talk between me and you the biggest shift you can make, from living in fear and control to
Yeah.
faith and flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you do that as someone that works with people, and when I do that, we empower them, right? So I see my work as I'm not fixing or healing anybody. I'm empowering them to experience the healing that they're ready to experience. And
So,
that fits perfectly with the container.
so when it comes to the container that you create for people, because I wanted to share the work that you do, because I felt like when we worked together, I was able to feel a literal energetic shift within myself, even though we're hundreds of miles away from each other.
Hmm.
We are still able to entangle and communicate in a way that allowed you to help me shift my own energy and gave me the
Hmm.
space to do it. Maybe you could explain a little bit around the work that you do and why you do what you do and how you got there.
Sure. Yeah. So, it's an energy healing technique called BEST, which means bioenergy or stands for bioenergetic synchronization technique. And ultimately, what happens is our brain is holding on to all these survival emotions from life, regardless of what you've been through. So many of us have trauma, and certainly first responders tend to have much more trauma just because of the work and the life that they're experiencing and what they're seeing every day. So whether we like it or not, we hold these survival patterns in our brain, and you can think of them as circuits, neuro circuits that are created from being in survival mode, from being in that state of fight or flight all the time, really, for so many people.
Like
And
hardware,
so,
like a hard wired pathway.
yep, like a hardwired pathway. Exactly. Yep. And so I have been trained, like you said, from hundreds of miles away. This morning at 8 a.m., I had a session with a woman in Australia. It was 10 p.m. tonight for her. And I am trained to tune in to that energy, literally to create the container. So energetically, when I work on somebody, I am creating a massive container that we are both in so that I can feel what's happening and detect in your energy field what is being held in your subconscious, which the whole body is the subconscious, but also those circuits in the brain. What is being held that you haven't been able to let go of, that is in the buried beneath the trap door. So we have a conscious and a subconscious mind, and our conscious mind is always trying to communicate to the subconscious that which the subconscious is running the show. The conscious is trying to say, okay, this is stressful. You got to deal with this, fight or flight. Okay, that's over. it's okay to go to move back into the parasympathetic state, to shift back into your natural healing mode. That's the body's natural process to go back and forth, right? But it's as if the trap door slams shut and that communication from conscious to subconscious isn't happening. So your conscious mind looks around and knows, hey, you're at home on a Saturday afternoon. You should be relaxing and having fun with your kids. And the subconscious isn't getting that message. It's still in fight or flight from these survival emotions that it's holding on to. It thinks that you're still in that situation that was traumatic for you. So the technique that I do opens the trap door. It gets a message to the subconscious, hey, it's safe to release this now, and it's safe to relax. And we can try so many things, right? We can try drinking beer and watching movies and like all the different things, the techniques that we think are going to eating, like all the things that we think are going to shift us. But if that trap door is slammed shut, then shifting is going to be very difficult. Now, I like to say the technique I do is really powerful because it gets right in there, it opens the trap door, it clears those emotions. But you can do that meditating if you can sit and be in a stillness and meditation. The breath work I taught you about breathing, that channel breath bigger than the body, that starts to carve a pathway through the trap door. So there are lots of ways, even exercise that's conscious. Okay, so not exercise where like you put on headphones and you're listening to headbanging music and you're like banging it out at the gym. But if you're doing exercise
I feel
that's
attacked.
conscious,
I feel attacked right now.
yeah, that's okay. I know. I mean, I know because that's my, like I'd go with my husband. I would go to the firefighter gym a couple times, and the music is like that music will put me in fight or flight, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So to consciously breathe through while this channel and while you're exercising, that's another way that you carve a pathway and you start to sort of pry open that trap door.
For sure. And a lot of the work that I do with first responders, it all goes back to stress management and shifting out of fight or flight into rest and recovery because there's downstream effects for your sleep,
Hmm.
for your metabolism, and your performance. You know, you'll see a lot of accounts that um, advocate for firefighter health and wellness focus solely on fitness because as a first responder, you need to be fit.
Yeah,
But what they're missing is that fitness on top of certain fitness, on top of sleep deprivation, creates more stress, more fight or flight. So, what we need to figure out is balancing the to
oops, I
optimize.
lost you for a second, but you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Where was I at?
Uh, we need to optimize. I heard that.
Yeah. So, as first responders, we need to learn how to optimize the headbanging hardcore with the soft breathing and meditation. Because
Yeah,
if you're putting the headbanging hardcore on top of sleep deprivation, you're doubling down on fight or flight. And
yeah,
when we double down on fight or flight is when we really start to create that momentum to where we can't sleep through the night, even when we're safe. To
yep.
where I have a client who has been in fight or flight so long that when the sirens, he's retired, when he hears a fire truck, he goes right back into that mode.
Hmm.
And it makes him so stressed out that he will drive away from sirens or turn the music up real loud and close his ears, you
Hmm.
know? And those are all results of an overstimulated nervous system. So, in
Yeah,
order for people to be healthy and to live in faith and to sleep better and to improve our subconscious thoughts from survival to healing, it all goes back to the nervous system and
100%.
rewiring those circuits that you talked about from
Yeah,
fight or flight into relaxation, from fear to faith, and knowing that everything is good. You don't need to overdo things. You don't need to do everything yourself. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, that you're overwhelmed because
Hmm.
it's not weakness, it's biology.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a couple things I'd love to say about that. My favorite thing to say is I love ease. Life should be easy. And ease in the body is what we're looking for because we know the opposite of ease is dis-ease, right? It's just the way it is. There are two states of being. If you think about it, there are really only two states of being. You can be in fight or flight, or you can be in rest and heal, rest and relax. Sometimes it's called rest and digest because as soon as we start to move into that, the digestive system works, right? And if you're in fight or flight, you are disempowered. If you're in rest and heal, you're empowered because you're allowing the energy to flow through you. You're bigger than this body energetically. And when you tune in to the energy of you, the essence of you, it's powerful and it's creative. We are made of creative essence. And we're actually here to step into a life that we're creating, that we think about what we want to be the next thing in our life. And it begins to happen for us because we're so tuned into our essence of creativity. In fight or flight, you're just running from a bear. You can't be creative if you're running from a bear. And it's not your fault, right? You've had so much stress in your life that you don't know how to shift and stop running from the bear and settle and allow life to flow. But it's the
Yeah.
most powerful thing you can do.
And on
And
top of
healing
that,
happens.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, on top of that, in order to actually be in a parasympathetic state, especially for first responders, it takes a proactive approach.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen by accident.
Yeah.
You can't just lay around and expect to downregulate
Hmm.
because the way our bodies work is through signals, right? So when
Hmm.
you're a first responder, you have to go into fight or flight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So fight or flight, don't get me wrong, is necessary for survival.
Yep.
You need
Yep.
that. It's good for you. But it can become overwhelming if you never are able to switch out of it. And in order to switch out of it, just like it takes a stimulus to get into it, it takes a stimulus to get out of it. The
Yeah.
average person sees 4 traumatic events in their life. The average first responder sees 4,000.
Wow. Yeah.
So it goes to show you that, yes, as a first responder, you are going to see trauma. You are going to be in fight or flight. That is part of the job that you're choosing to do. But beyond the call, I used to say beyond the job because I was like, once you're off shift, you can begin to control yourself. But honestly, once the call's over, when the call's on, you got to dedicate yourself to the community, to what you're doing, to putting out the fire, to saving a life. Whatever it happens to be in that moment, that's your priority. But as soon as that call's over, it's time to take care of yourself.
Yep.
That could be a minute of breathing. That could be 3 minutes of breathing. That could be understanding that you're in fight or flight and taking necessary steps to lower yourself out of it. And once we can begin to give the tools to first responders, and this is where departments fail. They fail tremendously here. They give no tools to first responders in order to downregulate the nervous system. They are big on reactive things like therapy. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, trauma is not a logical experience, it's a physiological experience. And
Hmm.
you cannot out talk a system in fight or flight.
Agreed. And you know what? The more you talk about it, the more energy you give to it, right? We go to therapists and we talk and talk and talk about our problems. And I know people that have been in therapy for years and you just keep talking about it. You just keep going around that same cycle. And there are good therapists. I know there are good therapists that teach you how to downregulate your nervous system. So I'm not bashing therapy, but but if you don't have the tools to shift, you're tearing your body apart from the inside out when you're in that sympathetic state all of the time. This conversation with us started with my husband is a retired firefighter paramedic, and we met a friend of his who's a retired firefighter, and he was talking about he doesn't sleep, he has tinnitus, He has migraine headaches. The list of things that he's dealing with physically, and the doctors don't know what to do for him. And my husband is my biggest cheerleader. He's like, you could help him, but we don't live in a world where people say, yeah, let's get your energy flowing. Let's downregulate your nervous system, right? Let's
Yet.
find that yeah, we're headed, I mean, just the fact that you and I are having this conversation, I do believe we're headed in that direction.
Yeah.
But
And
I've
I
approached,
also, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say,
No.
I've approached our local, I'm in Virginia Beach for anyone that's watching. I've approached our local fire department and police department to offer my services, and they just don't get it.
Crickets.
Hmm.
I couldn't agree more. I even made a video today that I didn't post yet, but I don't know if I'm going to post it because I was like a little upset when I made it. And it was about me offering my services to a department, to a union, more specifically, a union who's supposed to take care of the firefighters.
Hmm.
I didn't ask for a dollar. All I wanted to do was use a certain location that was familiar to first responders so that we could give them the tools to downregulate their nervous system with their spouse. Because I
Oh,
honestly
nice.
think that healing is a family event.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
agree.
something that you need to do by yourself. And my healing journey has brought me closer to my wife because we have done these things together. And through that connection, we have grown closer. Our relationship has grown stronger. Our children have benefited. And that was all because of learning the tools that I learned, down regulating my nervous system, sharing it with my wife, and our relationship evolving along with our growth at healing ourselves. And this organization said, no, we don't approve it, even though two nonprofits were on board with me. So there was
Wow.
not going to be a cost. There was going to, it's a no brainer. And it baffles me that you would say no to that instead of saying maybe this date instead of that date, or that sounds amazing, let's do it. Do you really care about your members if you're not willing to educate them? Because a lot of this comes down to education, right?
Yeah,
Once we
agreed.
know better, we do better.
Right.
But if we don't know what these tools are, how they work, or why it would benefit us to sleep better, change our metabolism, optimize our hormones, because mental illness is not a thing that happens by itself. It's a downstream event from a series of that have been showing up for years that have been covered up with either alcohol, drugs, or ego and not knowing what to do. And then they manifest as mental illness towards the end. But
Exactly.
if we can get to the root of why guys are getting sick and guys are overwhelmed and guys are burnt out and gals, when I say
Hmm.
guys, I mean both,
Right.
then we can begin to shift these grim statistics of more suicides than in the line of duty death.
Yeah, that's crazy. You froze. I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but since you're frozen, I'm gonna keep talking.
All right, go
Oh,
ahead.
now you're back. Now you're back. Um, so I love that because, and this is the part I think that gets people a little bit, they can't wrap their head around it. But my work is working with your energy field, the toric field that we are each an energy field. Your energy field controls your nervous system. Your nervous system controls your body, right? So I love it because I love what I do. It's just so fulfilling because if I can get your energy field and I can aligned and peel out this gunk that's getting in the way, the automatic response to that is the nervous system shifts to rest and heal to parasympathetic, right? So when we worked together on that session and I cleared those emotions from you afterward, your nervous system was in parasympathetic state because of that, because
Chilling.
it's your natural state. Your system knows its natural state. It just needs a little bit of help to get there. But it's always interesting to me when I do a session with someone and they're sort of relaxed and they're like, oh, I could take a nap, that's your natural state. We're not supposed to feel like we should take a nap. It's just that we're not used to feeling so at ease and relaxed in our body and being active at the same time. We equate relaxed as, it's time to sleep. That inner state of relaxation is your natural state. And you could even go to a call in that state and still be very effective because you'd be empowered from there internally to be in that state of ease. And
Big time.
as I said in the beginning of this call, my husband, who retired, is now a contractor for the government, and he's teaching tactical medicine to police departments in other countries. So it's still he's in the Congo, or has been. He's in Detroit right now, but he was in the Congo for 12 days. There's still stress in that work, and he's running a team of guys that are trying to teach this. And I FaceTime with him and we talk as he's there, and he's using these tools and techniques he used to come from the hard ass leader place, like, and now he knows how to come literally from a place of love, of being soft on the inside, at ease, right? And it's actually more effective.
Big time. Yeah. And one of the things that I feel is really important is allowing people to be vulnerable. And because you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be in a parasympathetic state, you're able to see things that you wouldn't have seen in fight or flight. And
Absolutely.
like you said, when the job, say you want to retire, right? You're like, you know what? When I retire, everything's going to be fine. That's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
Even if you're retired, you're still holding all of the trauma that you've built up over time. So you don't get healthy when you retire. You get healthy now so that you can retire and enjoy it.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Emotion, we'll be doing something, and all of a sudden I look over, my husband's crying. He's got so much, 25 years in a department, and he's got so much inside of him. And then what he'll say is, I think I need a session, because I don't want to be the wife that's like, you need a session every other day. It's like, I'm
yeah,
not going to be that wife, but he'll
yeah,
come to me and say, I think I need a session. Like, he can feel it, that it's coming up, right? Because all that trauma has been pushed down in your system. And you think when you push it down and pocket it away, you think, oh, good, I can't see it, right? But it's still in there. And eventually it's going to come up, or it's
yeah.
going
If
to
you
make
don't,
you sick.
yeah, so I was going to say, if you don't bring it out, it's going to come out, it's going to manifest in ways you don't want it to manifest.
Yeah.
And that's what disease is.
Yeah.
Whether it's heart disease, cancer, diabetes, it all goes back to our bodies being dysregulated.
Yeah.
And we have the power to regulate ourselves. That's the
Hmm.
beauty of being a human. This is a technology.
Yes.
And then what a lot of people think is that, oh, I don't have time to do this, or um, it's not something I'm good at. I have too many thoughts while I meditate. That's perfectly normal.
Hmm.
It's okay. All you got to do is sit there and breathe. And yeah, in the beginning, it's going to be tough, but just like a muscle that you work out over time, it gets easier and easier and more fun. And you notice the difference. And as soon as you stop doing your breathing exercises or your meditation or your energy work, you realize it. You're like, man, I got to get back. And like
Yes.
my wife, she's been working a lot lately, and she comes home and she's still in that mode. And I'm like, honey, you need to downregulate. you need
Yeah.
to you need to stop for a second and breathe, because the momentum is there. That
Yeah.
momentum doesn't stop unless you stop it. So speaking of stopping momentum, why don't we tell everybody about the group session that we're going to do on the 15th?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited about it. So on Tuesday, the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to guide you through a remote energy healing session. And I'm going to talk in the beginning and do some teaching to empower you to downregulate your nervous system in some of the ways that I use and that I teach my clients, so that it's not like you're just coming for the experience and not leaving with anything. I want to empower everybody that attends. and I'm going to explain how your energy works a little bit, how that system works so that you understand it. And then I'm going to have you actually lie down and relax. And I'm going to tune into the collective field. So I have to plug my phone in, John. I'm going to tune into the collective field and sorry about that. And find the unresolved emotion. So there, we hold this, we're human. We all experience the same emotions. I have an energy chart that has 144 emotions. Each has its own frequency or vibration. And so when I do a group healing, I'm tuning into the collective and I'm finding what is most prevalent in the group that's there. And I'll explain the system that evening, how it's going to work, and I will clear emotion from your system. And I guarantee that you will leave there feeling more at ease, more relaxed, and probably, especially if you have sleep issues, probably have one of the best night's sleep that you've had in a while.
I can second that. You will definitely leave in a whole different vibration.
Great.
And one session won't fix everything, but it will open the container and allow you to understand how important it is to downregulate your nervous system. So I encourage anybody who's watching this now or in the future to please attend with us on Tuesday. It's going to be a great opportunity to downregulate, sleep well that night, and learn a little something more about yourself. And I thank you especially for doing this for everybody because, um, you know, it can be hard to do things that you're not familiar with and accept that there are ways to change yourself without really doing much. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's good at doing things they want to do, they want to continue to work, but sometimes you just got to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said earlier about saying like I don't have time, right? You don't not have time. Like you got to make the time. There's a Buddhist saying about meditation. You should meditate for 20 minutes a day, and if you don't have time, you should meditate for an hour. And I believe in that so much because when you take the beautiful thing is when you take the time to take care of yourself and your nervous system, you have more time. Life flows with more ease. You're not rushing around stressed out and trying to get everything done. It's like, I got this.
Yeah.
And so it gives you time to take the time for you. So,
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's like when we're in the primal state of fear, we are so focused on being in that state that we're wasting time that we could be in a state of powerful faith that allows things to flow to us naturally, that we
yeah,
don't that we don't got to get it all done in one day. You do what you can. You know that's enough. You hold the vision, you hold the container, and everything else will work out. And that's how you make more time and you enjoy life. You don't
yeah,
need to always be doing something. Sometimes you just need to be.
yeah. Being is one of my favorite things. Um, And if you want to know more, we won't do it in this time, but I teach people how to bend time because we're multidimensional. There are parts of us that are in a space that's not the third dimension where there is no time and space. And when you start to understand yourself and your energy field, it, there's I never feel stressed, and time is never I'm never feel like I'm rushed because I know I'm gonna make it all work because I've become that empowered. I really feel like that's the essence of my work. It's to empower people to understand really what's going on inside of them and the innate power they have to heal, to feel good, to really live a life that feels easy and fun. That's what we
Yeah.
came for.
And I'll add to that. For me, I've been consciously focusing on being in that state of empowerment and power and faith. And while I'm not always in it, it's like a language. In the
Mhm.
beginning, you learn a couple terms, which you get
Yeah,
in there a couple times a day. Then you're learning sentences. So you're in it for a longer period. And you're still going to get things to challenge you and put you in a primal state or a state of fear. But that's where you begin your awareness. You begin to create these repetitions, do these proactive exercises, and then eventually you can live life virtually stress free. because you're not giving meaning to experience. You're allowing
Exactly.
experience to happen, and the meaning that you're giving it is what's creating the stress, not the experience. And then once
Right.
you learn that, you're able to walk through life in a state of faith and flow and down regulate your nervous system. And for like a client I had, and I'll add this right before we wrap up, he woke up today, didn't sleep well because of nightmares. And what I explained to him is that my goal in life is to be in my dreams the way I am in my conscious life. So
Hmm.
I still have nightmares. I still go in these cycles in my dreams, which I recognize as my subconscious mind. But as I begin to consciously downregulate my nervous system, live from faith, and um, be more instead of doing all the time, my dreams, my subconscious are reflecting that. So
Yes.
once you start to really do these things conscientiously over time, you can open that trap door,
Mhm.
release that unconscious trauma, and now even your dreams become beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. The way I say that, John, is that life isn't stressful. It's the way you respond to life that creates the stress, right? And what we haven't been taught is how to respond. And so we're really learning how to create that inner response that feels good and that everything is actually okay and it's going to be okay.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
looking
mention the
forward.
link. The link is in the comments for anybody that wants to register for Tuesday night.
For sure. And I'm also going to be promoting it over the next 48 hours or whatever until the event happens. So I'll
Awesome.
post it up. I'll put it in my story. I'll put it in my links so that people can meet us there. And I'm looking forward to seeing that collective energy that we share and shift.
Yeah, it's going to feel really good. I'm excited. There's nothing like, when one is powerful and when many gather, the power is really, really palpable. So it'll be cool.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. What the hell, bro? Why is this shit up top?